in progress. Ladies and gentlemen, the opening ceremony of International Conference on Data Science and Official Statistics is going to start in a brief moment. Before we start, let me remind you some important information. To help us recognize you easily, please rename your username with the format that was shared in the chat room. To reduce and prevent unnecessary sound, please your microphone, but do not forget to turn on your video. And do not forget to fill out the registration link that will be shared also in the chat room, so you can get the e-certificate from this conference. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning from Jakarta, ladies and gentlemen. The Excellency Chief Statistician of BPS Statistics Indonesia, the Honorable Vice Chief Statistician of BPS Statistics Indonesia, the Honorable Acting Principal Secretary, Deputies, and Principal Inspector of BPS Statistics Indonesia, the Honorable Director, Head of Bureaus of BPS Statistics Indonesia, the Honorable Director of Polytechnic Statistika STIS, the Honorable Distinguished Speakers in this plenary session, distinguished international guests, lecturers, staffs, students, and all participants who are joining this conference on Zoom and YouTube. First of all, I would like to thank God the Almighty that has given us blessing to attend this conference. It is a great honor and privilege for us to be your host for today's conference. I am Safnanda Aulia Kamal. Welcome to the plenary session 1 on the 3rd International Conference on Data Science and Official Statistics ICD-SOS, a pivotal event proudly convened by Polytechnic Statistika STIS. This conference is organized by Polytechnic Statistika STIS and BPS Statistics Indonesia in collaboration with Forum of Higher Education on Statistics for STAT, Indonesian Statistician Association ISI, Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, ESCAP, and United Nations Statistics Division, UNSD. Under the theme, For Data to Impact, Leveraging Innovation in Data Science and Official Statistics for Data-Driven Policymaking and Global Competitiveness, ICD-SOS 2025 is providing an international forum for exchanging ideas and information among statisticians and data scientists from academia, national statistical offices, professional, and beyond. This conference will be held from 27 until 28 November 2025. And now for the first day, we will have an opening remarks, keynote speech, first plenary session, and parallel session of the conference. And for tomorrow, the second day, we will continue the parallel session and the second plenary session. There is also an announcement for the best paper and the closing of the conference. Ladies and gentlemen, to foster our national spirit and honor the identity of the host country, we kindly request everyone to sit up straight. We invite all attendees to remain seated respectfully as we listen to the national anthem, Indonesia Raya. Distinguished audience, kindly allow us to present a video introducing Polytechnic Statistica STIS as the organizing institution renowned for its strong dedication to the advancement of statistical science and data science.
Polytechnic Statistica STIS, an educational institution under BPS Statistics Indonesia, an institution that constantly innovates, produce quality statisticians, proficient in communication, and adhering to the core values of berakhlak, service-oriented, accountable, competent, harmonious, loyal, adaptive, and collaborative. Work together from diverse cultural backgrounds, preparing oneself to present data for Indonesia. According to Polytechnic Statistica STIS vision, becoming a leading and world-class vocational college in official statistics, these are several main missions. First, implement three dharma of higher education, research, and community service, with high quality to support the implementation of official statistics activities. Second, implementing an effective and efficient information technology-based vocational higher education governance system. The institution offers two educational programs to its students: associate degree and the applied bachelor degree. The associate degree program consists of associate degree of statistics study program, while the bachelor degree in applied statistics offers statistics study program that is divided into specializations in economic statistics and social and population statistics, and statistical computing study program, which is split into the data science and statistical information system specialization. Graduates of Polytechnic Statistica STIS will be immediately appointed as civil servants working under the BPS Statistics Indonesia, whether located at the central, provincial, or municipal level, as well as in Indonesian ministry or government institutions. In enhancing the quality of graduates and fostering advancement in science and technology, the Polytechnic Statistica STIS actively engaged in various international statistical activities by hosting the first international conference on data science and official statistics in 2021 and the second international conference on data science and official statistics in 2023. Together with Forstat Indonesia, Polytechnic Statistica STIS also successfully organized the first Forstat International Conference in 2024. With a spirit of moving forward and continuously acquiring new knowledge, Polytechnic Statistica STIS received recognition under the special category of Innovation Award. Polytechnic Statistica STIS invited representatives from the Food and Agriculture Organization and the Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific as guest lecturers for special student lecturers. Concurrently, the Polytechnic Statistica STIS established diplomatic relations with other countries, including accepting new students from the Democratic Republic of Timor-Leste. Proven to have been acknowledged internationally, the Polytechnic Statistica STIS was appointed as the Secretariat of Regional Hub for Big Data and Data Science for official statistics in Asia and the Pacific, as a center for learning and development in big data and data science. In carrying out its duties, Polytechnic Statistica STIS has held several activities such as workshops and webinars for its members. In order to maintain relationships and increase opportunities for developing deeper into statistical science, the Polytechnic Statistica STIS actively receives and conducts visits between National Statistical Office in various countries. Among these visits are those from the Australia Bureau of Statistics, United Nations, Bureau of Statistics China, National Statistics of Vietnam, as well as visits to the Democratic Republic of Timor-Leste. We look forward to having you become part of the family of Polytechnic Statistica STS.
Ladies and gentlemen, the preceding agenda is the welcoming remarks from the Director of Polytechnic Statistica STS. We respectfully invite the Honorable Director of Polytechnic Statistica STS, Dr. Ernie Tri Astuti M, to deliver her welcome address in this conference international. Dr. Ernie Tri Astuti, time is yours.
Thank you, Mbak Safa. The Excellency Chief Statistician of BPS Statistik Indonesia, Ibu Amalia Adininggar Widya Santi, the Honorable Vice Statistician of BPS Statistik Indonesia, Bapak Sony Hari Budi Utomo, the Honorable Acting Principal Secretary, Deputy and Principal Inspectorate of BPS Statistik Indonesia, the Honorable Invited Speaker for this plenary session, Professor Kerry Mengersen, Rachael Beaven, and Professor Ming, the Honorable Director and Head of Provincial Statistical Office who are present today, the Honorable Representative of Forum Pendidikan Tinggi Statistika and Regional Hub Advisory Board Member, all rectors, students, and all conference organizers from Polytechnic Statistica STS, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great pleasure and honor to welcome you to the third International Conference on Data Science and Official Statistics, ICDSOS 2025. As mentioned by the MC, this conference is organized by Polytechnic Statistica Indonesia and in collaboration with PPS and Forum Pendidikan Tinggi Statistika, Ikatan Statistika Indonesia, United Nations Statistic Division, United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific. On behalf of the institution, I would like to express my deepest appreciation to BPS, Forstat, EC, UNSD, and UNSCAP for providing valuable support to conduct our international conference. This ICDSOS 2025 aim to provide an international forum for exchanging ideas and information among statisticians and data scientists from academia, national statistical offices, professionals, and beyond. This year's theme is From Data to Impact, leveraging innovation in data science and official statistics for data-driven policy making and global competitiveness. Reflect our collective aspiration to transform data into actionable insight that can shape evidence-based policy and strengthen global collaboration. The conference covers a wide range of topics from data science, applied statistics to official statistics, demonstrating how innovation analytics and statistical rigor can jointly contribute to addressing real-world challenges. Whether through the use of machine learning for policy modeling, modern survey techniques, or integration of administrative and big data sources, each paper presented here plays a role in bridging the gap between data and meaningful impact. Ladies and gentlemen, the ICDSOS 2025 conference has received 240 submissions. After the editorial check and the peer review process carried out by our reviewer, 110 manuscripts are accepted, resulting in an acceptance rate of 45%. The order of the accepted manuscript represent 8 countries, demonstrating wide international representation. These countries, including Indonesia, India, the Philippines, Malaysia, Cameroon, Myanmar, Nigeria, and Australia. The accepted manuscripts are distributed across 3 sub-themes as follows: 42 manuscripts in data science, 47 manuscripts in applied statistics, and 20 manuscripts in official statistics. This year, ICDSOS 2025 is also integrated with Seminar Nasional of Official Statistics, which will take place on the second day of the conference during the parallel seminar session. A total of 195 manuscripts were submitted to the Seminar Nasional of Official Statistics, on which 80 manuscripts were accepted after the review process. The acceptance manuscripts are distributed across 3 sub-themes: official statistics, data science, and also applied statistics. Today, already joining us in this room, all of the presenters that will be present their paper in the afternoon and tomorrow morning session. This occasion also live streaming in YouTube channel, so everyone can also watching and join the conference. The conference would not be conducted without the hard work, dedication, and valuable contribution of the committee, supporting institution, and also the reviewers. We would like to express our sincerest gratitude to the steering committee, the organizing committee, the scientific committee who contribute tirelessly to make this conference run efficiently. To conclude my remark, I would like to thank and welcome all the authors, presenters, and participants of the conference. I hope that all of you can enjoy the ICDSOS 2025 conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Erni Triastuti, for the remarks in the third ICDSOS. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now proceed to the opening ceremony of the conference, which will be conducted by the Chief Statistician of BPS Statistics Indonesia, who will also deliver the keynote speech on the contribution of data science and official statistics of BPS to policymaking. It is my great honor to introduce our keynote speaker, who will also open this event, Ibu Amalia Adininggar Widyasanti, PhD, the Chief Statistician of BPS Statistics Indonesia. Ibu Amalia Adininggar Widyasanti, or often called Ibu Winnie, was born in Bogor on March 5, 1972. She earned bachelor degree in engineering and Master of Science in Chemical Engineering from Institut Teknologi Bandung, and Master Engineering from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, Troy, New York, United States. Ibu Winnie earned a PhD in economics from the University of Melbourne, Australia in 2005. In February 2025, the President of Indonesia appointed Ibu Winnie as Chief Statistician of BPS Statistics Indonesia after serving as acting chief since July 17, 2023. We respectfully invite the Excellencies, Chief Statistician of BPS Statistics Indonesia, Ibu Amalia Adininggar Widyasanti, PhD, Ladies and gentlemen, we will now proceed to the opening ceremony of the conference, which will be conducted by the Chief Statistician of BPS Statistics Indonesia, who will also deliver the keynote speech on the contribution of data science and official statistics of BPS to policymaking. It is my great honor to introduce our keynote speaker, who will also open this event, Ibu Amalia Adininggar Widyasanti, PhD, the Chief Statistician of BPS Statistics Indonesia. Ibu Amalia Adininggar Widyasanti, or often called Ibu Winnie, was born in Bogor on March 5, 1972. She earned bachelor degree in engineering and Master of Science in Chemical Engineering from Institut Teknologi Bandung, and Master Engineering from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, Troy, New York, United States. Ibu Winnie earned a PhD in economics from the University of Melbourne, Australia in 2005. In February 1972, the President of Indonesia appointed Ibu Winnie as Chief Statistician of BPS Statistics Indonesia after serving as acting chief since July 17, 2023. We respectfully invite the Excellency Chief Statistician of BPS Statistics Indonesia, Ibu Amalia Adininggar Widyasanti, PhD. Bu, gak ada makasih buat ibunya. Kok jadi gak ada ya? Oke, Ibu.
Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor to join you today at the International Conference on Data Science and Official Statistics. Ladies and gentlemen, we are living at a pivotal moment that data is being produced at the unprecedented speed and scale. Demands for statistics that are timelier, more granular, and more relevant are growing rapidly. And we are expected not only to keep pace with these changes, but to lead them. It is within this context, I would like to share how data science and official statistics together are becoming powerful instruments for stronger and more adaptive policymaking, and how Indonesia, through BPS, is transforming its statistical ecosystem to meet the challenges of this fast-evolving digital era. Allow me to begin with revisiting the notion of data quality. High-quality statistics serve as the backbone of governance. They inform national budgets, shape social protection policies, and influence macroeconomic decisions. The 6 dimensions of quality, namely relevance, accuracy, timeliness, accessibility, interpretability, and coherence, are not just theoretical concepts. They are practical requirements for any government that aims to deliver policies that truly work. When data quality fails, the consequences are real. Programs become misguided, resources are wasted, benefits are distributed unfairly, and perhaps, most importantly, public trust erodes. Yet, when data quality is upheld, statistics become powerful assets and they enhance policy credibility, strengthen accountability, and give citizens confidence that decision-making are based on evidence, not based on assumption. In BPS, we believe that accurate data are behind every robust policy. Now, let us reflect on the role statistics play in public life. Across sectors, the nature of decision-making has fundamentally changed. In the private sector, data drives efficiency and profit. In the public sector, data drives welfare and inclusive development throughout the country. Therefore, planning, implementation, monitoring, and evaluation relies on solid evidence. As Edward Deming said, "In God we trust. All others must bring data." This quote encapsulates the shift toward a culture where data is no longer optional but essential. With the understanding of the role of statistics, now we turn to the unique value of official statistics. Official statistics are the only statistics produced using standardized definitions, rigorous methodology, and national representativeness. Official statistics enable longitudinal monitoring. For instance, inflation today must be comparable to inflation from 5 years ago. Poverty measures remain coherent across time and regions. Unemployment statistics must reflect both local and national realities. Most importantly, official statistics create a shared factual basis for policy dialogue. This allows government, academics, businesses, and the public to speak the same language, grounded in the same evidence. Ladies and gentlemen, at BPS Statistics Indonesia, our commitment to quality is maintained through comprehensive quality assurance, quality monitoring, which acts as the early warning system, and quality gates, which ensure every process meets standards before moving forward, and quality self-assessment, which helps us continuously improve after activities are completed. Together, these mechanisms ensure that the statistics we release are credible, accurate, and internationally comparable. Our commitment to quality is further reinforced through robust governance and global alignment. Forum Masyarakat Statistics provides independent advice. At the global level, BPS aligns its methodologies with the UN Statistical Commission, the IMF, the World Bank, and the other international bodies. This ensures that the key indicators like GDP, inflation, and poverty are compiled in accordance with global standards, reinforcing comparability and trust. As we uphold this standard, we must also navigate the new realities of the digital era. Official statistics must adapt quickly to shifting needs. Data is expected to be produced faster, with more detail, and with stronger relevance to emerging policy challenges. At the same time, this environment opens opportunities for governments to deepen insights, enhance accountability, and improve public service delivery. When we integrate the diverse data sources and respond proactively, official statistics become not only a record of current conditions, but a stronger foundation for timely, evidence-based policy responses. This can be achieved when data science takes a significant role in the production of official statistics. Data science plays a vital role in accelerating data-driven decision-making process. Rather than replacing official statistics, it strengthens their value. One of its greatest contributions is the ability to complement official statistics with capabilities that traditional methods cannot easily provide. Data science offers real-time signals, machine learning and predictive analytics, and greater flexibility to generate richer and more adaptive insights. To fully harness these capabilities, the integration between official statistics and data science must continue to improve the frequency, granularity, and speed of official statistics, strengthening national data governance, and also promoting transparent and open data practices. In pursuing this direction, BPS has already begun implementing innovations that incorporate data science into the production of official statistics. These include mobile positioning data usage, remote sensing for agriculture and spatial poverty, small area estimation for extreme poverty calculation, and DataSen, Unified National Data System. And this is only the beginning. More innovations will continue to emerge as we strengthen the synergy between data science and official statistics. Next, I will explain one by one the innovations that we have developed. And the first one is the MPD. The development of mobile positioning data marks an important step in modernizing Indonesia's statistical system. Through collaboration and capacity building, BPS has strengthened BPS ability to process and analyze MPD, allowing us to capture mobility and tourism patterns with far greater speed and detail than traditional methods alone. This approach reduces the burden on field operations while enabling the production of official indicators with improved timeliness and geographic coverage. The experience also reflects how partnerships, technology adoption, and methodological rigor can work together to expand the scope and quality of official statistics. Tourism statistics in Indonesia are undergoing major changes through the use of mobile positioning data. Previously, domestic tourism relied on household interviews and international data came from the immigration records, methods that were time and consuming, costly, and produce infrequent results. Mobile positioning data now enables monthly tourism statistics can be produced by BPS, offering more timely insights while reducing the need for large-scale field surveys and personnel need. The data is also richer and more detailed, allowing deeper analysis of visitor movements and more precise estimates to smaller areas such as districts and municipalities. Digital processing further accelerates publication as well, and this supporting faster and evidence-based policy making. I mean that by having a faster publication, that BPS can support to the policymakers for a better and faster evidence-based policy-making process. Over time, this approach improves data quality while lowering long-term collection cost as well. Next, let me explain our innovation on agricultural statistics through the mixed method approach. In the agricultural sector, BPS integrates sampling area framework with earth observation and machine learning to identify rice growth phases. This mixed method reduces sample size where applicable, lower cost, and also improves accuracy. But we underline as well that the mixed method also maintaining alignment with the principle of official statistics. Meaning, this method represents a pragmatic approach, an innovation that strengthened our foundational survey operations. A further example of innovation enhancing policy relevance is our work on measuring extreme poverty. Extreme poverty is difficult to be captured through traditional surveys because of its small sample size, and the number of the real extreme poverty is already small in Indonesia. Using small area estimation, BPS can integrate survey data with auxiliary variables from Rexosec census data and satellite imagery. This allows us to produce statistical reliable estimates at district and village levels, supporting better targeted social program and more coherent policy evaluation. Beyond this innovation, we also already undertaken one step ahead in our achievement for producing a unified data. This unified data is a foundation to support well-aligned and effective policy-making process to get a targeted people for social transfer. In many years, Indonesia's socio-economic data was fragmented across ministries, making it difficult to form a complete and consistent picture of household and individuals. The name of the unified data is DataSen or Data Tunggal Sosial Ekonomi Nasional. This unified data or DTSen addresses the challenge of integrating major national datasets, which come from DTKS, which is owned by the Ministry of Social Affairs, P3KE, owned by the Coordinating Ministry for Community Empowerment, and Rexosec from Bappenas. And then these three main data sets were unified into a single data set. And then this single data set is then reconciled with the key administrative sources from administrative data or civil administrative data, as well as from the Healthcare and Social Security Agency and the Electrical Company of Indonesia. With this DTSen or the unified data set, we can have individual unification, family unification. I mean, like a single identity of individual, single identity of family, because we reconcile this with the administrative data of civil society. And then we also strengthen this data set with the welfare ranking based on deciles, or we call it from decile 1 to 10. And then together with this effort, this creates a strong and coherent data foundation that can support more accurate, targeted, and effective policy formulation. Importantly, DTSen is not static. It is continuously updated and validated. Through the reconciliation process and coherency process with the administrative data from ministries and regional government, validation through field ground check and alignment with evolve progressively from version 1 to version 3. Each iteration improves coherence and reliability, ensuring that Indonesia maintains a comprehensive and up-to-date population data system that can effectively support a policy-making process. Going forward, the total population recorded by Dukcapil will be fully aligned with the total number of individuals in DataSen. This makes DataSen one of the most comprehensive integrated population data system globally, a product of strong institutional collaboration and shared governance. Lastly, I want to emphasize that establishment of DTSen offers several important lessons. Data integration is possible when collaboration and trust exist. Second, a unified socio-economic dataset is powerful for policymaking. Number 3, DataSen is the beginning of the integrated population data system for Indonesia. And number 4, it becomes the sampling frame for the future BPS survey, which over time, it will reduce statistical production cost and improve coherence. This is not just a data project, it is a governance of transformation. Ladies and gentlemen, the key message from today's discussion is clear. The integration of data science with official statistics enhance the clarity, depth, and precision of the evidence that guides decision-making process. Data science does not replace official statistics. It reinforces and strengthens their value. Through this synergy, we improve the quality of governance and uphold the public trust. So, on behalf of the BPS Statistics Indonesia, I would like to express my sincere appreciation for the opportunity to share our journey and our perspectives with all of you. We hope that these insights contribute meaningfully to the ongoing dialogue on how the synergy between official statistics and data science can support better governance, stronger accountability, and greater public trust. I wish you a productive and fruitful discussion ahead. Thank you very much and a very meaningful discussion for today's seminar. Thank you.
We extend our deepest appreciation to Ibu Amalia Adininggarudya Santi PhD for a truly compelling and forward-looking keynote address. The insight presented will serve as a guiding pillar for our conference discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, as our welcome greetings, we would like to present traditional welcome dance, the Kembang Kipas dance from Betawi, Jakarta, Indonesia, which symbolizing dedication to welcome the arrival of guests as a way to show hospitality and respect. Please enjoy the Kembang Kipas dance performed by students of Polytechnic Statistika STIS. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now proceed to the plenary session featuring 6 renowned experts who will present key perspective on current and emerging issues in official statistics. This session will be moderated by Dr. Engineering Ari Wahyu Wijayanto, SST MT, who will guide the discussion and introduce the speakers in run. Dr. Engineering Ari Wahyu Wijayanto was graduated from Sekolah Tinggi Ilmu Statistik in 2028. He continued his study and finished his Master of Engineering from Institut Teknologi Bandung in 2015. And in 2020, He acquired Doctor of Engineering from Tokyo Institute of Technology. Mr. Ari has published a lot of his research in international and national journals, as well as international and national proceedings. Currently, Mr. Ari works as a lecturer in Polytechnic Statistica STIS, and from September 2022 to the present, he has been serving as the head of the Center for Research and Community Services. Mr. Ari, time is yours.
Good morning, and session of one at the third International Conference on Data Science and Official Statistics, ICDSOS 2025. My name is Ari Wijayanto, head of the Center for Research and Community Services, and I'm honored to serve as the moderator for today's plenary sessions. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, respected speakers, and all participants joining us from around the world. This year's ICDSOS carries a powerful and important topics, from data to impact, leveraging innovation in data science and official statistics for data-driven policymaking and global competitiveness. We are gathered here with one shared purpose: to explore how innovations, big data, artificial intelligence, and official statistics can better inform policy, strengthen institutions, and support societies in the digital era. Today, we are very honored to have an exceptional lineup of distinguished speakers representing national statistical offices, international organizations, and leading global universities in data science and official statistics. Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, please allow me to introduce our distinguished lineup of speakers for today's plenary sessions. The first one, the Honorable Vice Chief Statistician of BPS Statistics Indonesia, Dr. Sony Hari Budi Utomo Harmadi. Good morning, Pak Sony. Terima kasih. Thank you very much for joining us. Terima kasih, Pak. The second one, Director of Statistics Division of the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, UNESCOP, Ms. Rachael Beaven. Good morning, Rachael.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. And the third one, we have Professor Kerry Mengersen from Queensland University of Technology, Australia. Good morning, Prof. Kerry. All right. So, and the last one, but not least, is Professor Ming from Guangxi University of Finance and Economics, People's Republic of China. Good morning, Prof. Ming. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are very honored to have the time and expertise of the exceptional leaders, scholars, and practitioners to share their insights with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my honor to introduce our first speaker in the plenary session, a respected leader in Indonesia's national statistical system. Our speaker is Dr. Harmadi, Vice Chief Statistician of Statistics Indonesia, BPS. He is a key figure in the modernization of Indonesia's official statistics and has played a strategic role in strengthening statistical governance, innovation, and the integration of advanced methodologies into the national statistical system. Dr. Sony has served in various high-level positions, leading initiatives related to statistical transformation, data harmonization, survey modernization, and institutional capacity development. Ladies and gentlemen, his academic background in economics and public policy has strengthened the role of Dr. Sony in ensuring that Indonesia's official statistics remain credible, timely, and policy relevant. He also frequently collaborates with government ministries, international statistical bodies, and development partners to advance the evidence-based policymaking in Indonesia. Today, we are really honored that Dr. Sony will address the pivotal role of modern official statistics as the foundation of accurate and effective public policy that invite us to consider an essential question. How can statistical system ensure that data consistently delivers meaningful impact in the era of data-driven governance? So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome together Dr. Sony Hari Budi Utomo Harmadi. Pak Sony, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Ari. A very good morning Indonesian time to Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It's my honor to deliver my presentation today and I would like to appreciate the Polytechnic STIS for conducting this international conference on data science and official statistics. Ladies and gentlemen, today, I would like to share Indonesia's journey in ensuring that modern statistics translate into meaningful impact, connecting data to policy for stronger development outcomes and global competitiveness. As national statistical offices, we carry a major responsibility to provide trusted and credible data that policymakers and the public rely on to make informed decisions. BPS Statistics Indonesia ensures that every official statistics we produce follows standardized and internationally recognized processes. We fully adopt the generic statistical business process model, ensuring that quality is embedded from survey design, data collection, processing, validation to dissemination. Our key indicators such as GDP, inflation, poverty rate adhere to international manuals such as the System of National Accounts 2008, the CPI Manual 2020, and the Handbook on Poverty and Inequality. Our outputs are periodically monitored and evaluated by the United Nations and the International Monetary Fund. Of course, these efforts reinforce one principle. Without quality, data cannot drive impact. However, we acknowledge that the world around us is rapidly transforming, and national statistical systems must evolve in response. Many statistical operations today still rely on paper-based surveys, non-integrated activities, and often impose burdens on respondents. Meanwhile, as we all aware, that leaders and society expect official statistics that are cheaper, easier, better, and faster, as mentioned before by Ibu Dr. Winnie. Therefore, the future must shift toward computer-assisted personal interviewing, CAPI, computer-assisted web interviewing, CAWI, and computer-assisted telephone interviewing, CATI-based surveys, better integration of datasets, interactive dashboards, and powerful assistance from artificial intelligence. The gap between what exists today and what is expected in the future creates an urgency for innovation. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, even when methods evolve, data alone is not enough. Data only becomes valuable when it is interpreted, when context is provided, when relationships are analyzed, when insights are derived. A simple illustration: imagine Cristiano Ronaldo visits a hospital because he is not feeling well. The doctor conducts a medical checkup and takes his blood sample for laboratory analysis, producing several measurements such as hemoglobin level, LDL, HDL, and others. Each of these numbers is merely raw data. For example, if Ronaldo's LDL cholesterol shows a value of 120 milligrams per DL per deciliter, we still cannot tell whether this is good or bad. Yeah. Only when we have a reference range, such as the normal LDL threshold being below 100 milligrams per deciliter, the number becomes information. Data has not mean anything, but when we have the reference, it will become an information. We know his LDL is higher than the recommended. Then by connecting this information with medical knowledge, such as the risk of cardiovascular disease associated with high LDL, it becomes knowledge. And when that knowledge guides a medical decision, such as changing diet or adjusting training intensity, it becomes wisdom. So now we know the difference between data, information, knowledge, and wisdom. Data grows into information, information becomes knowledge, and knowledge leads to wisdom. And wisdom is what drives good public policy. In other words, we produce statistics for humanity, not just to generate numbers, but to generate change in the society. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why strengthening the capability of data users is really crucial. BPS Statistics Indonesia actively promotes statistical literacy and data culture through various initiatives. Our partnership with universities through Statistic Corner or Pojok Statistik in Indonesian enhances students' analytical exposure. Our programs such as BPS Goes to School and Fantastic nurture statistical awareness among younger generations. We also provide capacity building for ministries and local governments through sectoral statistics coaching. Meanwhile, Desa Cantik, a beautiful village in English, brings statistical empowerment directly to villages, ensuring no community is left behind in the data revolution. Data must not only be produced, it must be understood and used accordingly. One major breakthrough in connecting data to impact in Indonesia is the establishment of unified socioeconomic database called DataSen. Ibu Winnie has explained about DataSen previously. The national single data on socio-economic condition. Now we only have one data sources for any kind of social assistance or social intervention programs. Can you imagine that previously government assistance and interventions were based on separate and fragmented data collection by each ministry? It will create leading to inefficiencies and mistargeted programs. Just 10 days after his inauguration, Presiden Prabowo Subianto mandated BPS Statistics Indonesia to develop DTSEN as the foundation for social protection and national development. BPS is responsible for establishing, managing, updating, and reporting DTSEN, including integrating data sources, matching individual and household information, and providing updated data to relevant ministries. With DTSEN, policies can be more accurate, targeting becomes more precise, and resources are managed more efficiently. Now the exclusion and inclusion error in any social assistance program are decreasing. This represents a true leap from data to real social impact. Innovation also drives our modernization of national statistical operations. The 2026 economic census, one of the most comprehensive data collection activities, economic activities in the country, will implement AI, artificial intelligence, enable system across multiple stages. Gen AI for ISIC classification allows faster and more consistent industry coding. Bung Itung, our chatbot, supports field operations. Fasih, an instrument builder, simplifies digital questionnaire development, and the IPAS analytical software accelerates data processing and insight generation. This transformation ensures that the census becomes faster, cheaper, more accurate, and more efficient. Technology strengthens the relevance of official statistics in an increasingly digital economy environment. To support such modernization sustainably, institutional strengthening is required. Indonesia is currently drafting a new statistical law that will better equip the NSO to operate in today's complex data environment. In today's very fast changing world. This reform will enhance data acquisition and micro data exchange, strengthen the role of BPS Statistics Indonesia in achieving national and global development agendas, such as the SDGs, and establish advanced national statistical infrastructure, including data integration centers. Modern governance is fundamental to modern statistics. Finally, we recognize that no country can advance alone. Yeah. We cannot move by ourselves. As highlighted in the United Nations World Data Forum, collaboration among national statistical offices is essential to build a stronger and more resilient global data ecosystem. The OECD and Paris 21 also emphasize the need for NSOs to accelerate digitization and improve operational capabilities to support the emerging data landscape. Indonesia remains committed to working together, sharing knowledge and learning from fellow NSOs around the world. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, modern statistics must lead to meaningful impact through innovation, stronger governance, data literacy, and global collaboration. We ensure that official statistics truly empower evidence-based policymaking and strengthen global competitiveness. Let us continue transforming numbers into narratives and data into decisions for the progress of humanity. I thank you very much. That's all, Dr. Hari.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sony Hari Budi Utomo Harmadi, for your very insightful presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Sony highlighted how the modernization of official statistics through stronger statistical governance, the integrations of multiple data sources, and the use of digital AI and analytical innovation plays a crucial role in strengthening the evidence-based policymaking. I would like also to emphasize that Dr. Sony already mentioned that data becomes meaningful when there is a reference, which make it interpretation really matters. The modern statistics must function not only as data products, but also as strategic and impactful policy for humanities. Thank you very much. Dr. Sony, the Vice Chief Statistician of BPS Statistics Indonesia, I would like to let you, if you have any other activities, and we can continue to the other speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is the Director of Statistics Division of the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, UNESCAP, Ms. Rachael Beaven. She is a leading figure in the advancement of statistical development and capacity building across the Asia and the Pacific regions. Ms. Beaven has held senior leadership within the ESCAP and the UN statistical systems, focusing on the strengthening national statistical offices, advancing SDGs data frameworks, and also promoting the big data for official statistics. We already know that she has contributed to the key regional guidelines, training programs, and collaborative initiatives. Her expertise spans from survey methodology, statistical governance, and new data ecosystems. Ladies and gentlemen, today, Ms. Rachael will share the insights regarding on AI for data and data for AI. So without further ado, Rachel, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. So as you heard, I'm Rachael Beaven, Director of Statistics Division at the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific. And I'm based in Bangkok. So it really is a huge pleasure to be able to join you today for this third international conference on the data science and official statistics. I hope you can share my slides for me. Is that okay? Great. So first, let me start by expressing my sincere thanks, of course, to Ibu Winnie, but also to all the other organizers of this event at BPS, and also specifically the Politecnica Statistica STIS. And thank you also to all the very many participants that I can see are joining us today. I hope that you can you see the slides? I'm going to ask you to share them for me.
Not yet, Rachel.
Are you going to share? Somebody going to share them?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'll carry on talking and you just share them when they're working. That's great. Let me start as well by saying a huge thank you to the government of Indonesia and to BPS really for your leadership in all of this work, but particularly on the topic of data science and official statistics. And we know that, you know, this is much more than just words. We've seen so much in terms of your own actions, which speak much louder than words through the initiatives that you've been starting, such as hosting this important conference, but also in terms of the establishment of the regional hub for big data and data science, which I'm very pleased I was there in Indonesia for its launch, which I think was almost, well, it was a little while ago now. Time goes so quickly. But what we've seen through that is what a huge benefit it is, not just to Indonesia, but also to the entire region. So today I'm delighted and I'm going to be able to speak to you on the topic of AI for data and data for AI. But this is very much not just a technical discussion. It really is also about how we as a community can harness innovation to strengthen official statistics and also to deliver better insights for policy and development. And we've heard much about that already today. If we go to the next slide, please. Back in 2020, the ESCAP Committee on Statistics, which brings together the heads of statistics offices from across the whole Asian Pacific region, they made a very bold and forward-looking decision to feature big data for official statistics in its future work, with an emphasis, though, on sharing country research, experiences, and good practices, and in facilitating capacity development. And that decision has really laid the foundation for the work that we're doing today. And it recognized that big data and emerging technologies like AI are not optional, but they're very much essential tools for modern statistical systems. But our challenge now is to turn this vision into a reality, ensuring that innovation serves the public good and strengthens trust in official statistics. So today, I want to focus on 5 key areas, which you can see here. First, we'll look at AI for data and explore the current landscape, and I'll share some case studies showing how national statistical offices are strengthening their capacity to use innovative big data sources for official statistics and how AI is already being used in different areas of their work. Secondly, I want to draw some lessons from those case studies, and particularly looking at what we can learn as we move from pilot projects to full-scale implementation. Third, we'll turn to the future and discuss what it means to make official statistics AI ready. And this really is an urgent priority. We need to ensure that official statistics are not just accessible to people, but also discoverable and usable by AI tools and large language models. Fourthly, I want to share some practical resources to help in terms of where you can go for support and guidance and tools to help you on the journey. And finally, I'll share some upcoming opportunities for engagement and events and platforms where you can showcase your work, but also learn from others. So let me start with some case studies. And first, I want to share an inspiring example from Kyrgyzstan. Kyrgyzstan set out with a clear goal to use geospatial data to close priority gaps in SDG reporting. And to make this happen, ESCAP worked hand in hand with national partners through a series of initiatives. So we delivered technical training in geospatial analysis, including tools like QGIS and census geocoding. And we helped to develop a national geostatistical data inventory and metadata system and improved data sharing across government agencies and created a roadmap for deeper integration. And these efforts have produced real tangible results in Kyrgyzstan. So they now have methods to estimate key SDG, so Sustainable Development Goal indicators, including the proportion of rural populations living near an all-season road, which is SDG 9.1.1, and also the ratio of land consumption to population growth, which is SDG 11.3.1. But this progress was only possible because of very strong collaboration with the National Statistical Committee, the State Agency on Land Resources, the Ministry of Transport and Communication, and also many, many more partners, including UN Statistics Division. But building on that success in Kyrgyzstan, let's look at another example, this time from Uzbekistan. So Uzbekistan set out with the ambition to use alternative data sources for price statistics. So price statistics, traditionally, that means sending out large numbers of people to actually go into shops and to look at the price of different things. So to improve the accuracy, timeliness, and granularity of that information, but also really to reduce those collection costs, Uzbekistan looked how they could use alternative data sources. So to support that, we worked very closely with them and other national partners. So we've helped in terms of processing and classifying electronic point of sale data, which was collected by the tax authority. So we've helped to kind of look at how they can develop a research and training program to actually integrate that tax data and use it within official statistics. So to use it in the calculation of inflation figures. We've also developed a targeted web scraping program using Python and establishing memorandums of understanding as well with the key data suppliers. So it's not just enough to have the technical work. We also need to have things like the governance structures, like the memorandums of understanding. And we've also been designing a target system and a data architecture using open source solutions. And these efforts are beginning to deliver significant results. They're helping to reduce the cost of data collection, but also to speed it up. And we're expecting to see even further benefits as the research and outcomes are implemented. But this progress, again, was only possible through strong collaboration. This was with the Statistics Agency, Tax Agency, but also members of the UN Committee of Experts for Big Data, and particularly the task team on scanner data. And for those of you that might be interested in that example, do please have a look on our ESCAP website, where we have a stats brief on alternative data sources for price statistics, and you can find out more there. So now let me turn to our final kind of case study, and this is one that shows innovation in the area of environmental challenges. So the government of Vanuatu wanted to improve their methods for monitoring land cover and environmental degradation, and their goal was very ambitious. They wanted to establish a robust machine learning-driven land accounting system based on the United Nations System of Environmental and Economic Accounting Framework. And that was going to be done using Earth observation data. So to support that work, we've been working very closely with national partners and have conducted a series of in-person workshops plus remote follow-up. And we've looked at helping in terms of training on data science and machine learning, geospatial data processing, analysis and interpretation, and also the development and management of automated data pipelines. And things like that are really, really important. If we can do things like automate some of the data production, then what it does, it really does free up staff time, so that then staff can actually spend their time doing some of these other more experimental methods. And we've seen that in Vanuatu, where as a result of the work, the production framework has actually been developed, and the technical capacity within government has significantly enhanced. And what we've also seen is that they're able to, really reduce the time it takes to actually do some of their production statistics. They're still working on this area, and they expect to finalize this work on land cover in the next few months. Again, this was very much a collaboration, this time with Vanuatu Bureau of Statistics, their Department of Lands, Department of Forests, and also other partners, including the Statistical Institute for Asia and the Pacific and the Pacific Community, SPC, and specifically their Digital Earth Pacific tool. So these examples that I've shared from Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, and Vanuatu show what's possible where innovation meets collaboration. But they also teach us some important lessons about how to approach AI and emerging technologies in official statistics. So let's look at some of the lessons learned. First, start small. So it's great to begin with pilot projects or very narrow use cases. So rather than jumping into a huge, large-scale AI implementation, start with something small that's manageable. This reduces the risk. It really eases the pressure as well on limited resources. We recognize that most people, if not everyone, is always very busy. So if you can start small and show and actually really demonstrate impact, then that allows others to actually see the benefits of the new approach, and then also to be able to kind of learn and adapt before scaling it up. So it helps to build confidence, but it also helps in terms of securing stakeholder buy-in and also making a kind of investment case. But although we start small, it's important from the beginning to think big. So start small, but also keep that long-term vision in mind. So aligning pilots with strategic goals, but also designing solutions that could actually be scaled up. There's no good really kind of starting with a solution that is extremely expensive and that could never actually be scaled up, for example, to a whole province or to a whole country. So it's good to kind of really bear that in mind from the beginning and look at interoperability for future integration. Third, and perhaps this is actually the most important lesson of all, is prepare to fail. It's okay to fail. We recognize that AI projects, data science projects, they involve experimentation, and not every initiative will succeed. Indeed, if they did all succeed, then I don't think we're really experimenting. So embracing this reality means that we actually need to foster that culture of learning and iteration and managing expectations, and also ensuring we have contingency plans that are put into place. But that really is about that culture and accepting that it's okay to fail, because that's how we learn. So fourthly, and we've heard a bit about this already in what different people have shared, it's really important that we invest in data quality, but also in data governance. And AI solutions are really only as good as the data behind them. We need strong data standards, metadata practices, and also privacy safeguards are essential. We need to address bias, transparency, accountability, and make sure that we really can maintain trust in official statistics. We've talked a lot there about collaboration, but the other key thing is about people. Staff need training. We need to build capacity in these new areas. And these are areas that are changing so quickly that this is going to be a continual effort to build that capacity and to keep on building it, to look at new solutions, new opportunities that there might be. And finally, in terms of lessons learned, we need to collaborate and share knowledge. And we've heard a lot about that already. And that's very much what these next 2 days are about. We need partnerships with other statistical offices. And it's great to see, I think we've got 8 countries at this event this week, but also partnerships with academia and the private sector. Let's look at what we can do collectively. And that's why, of course, we're here in the next couple of days. As we move on, though, we've talked about AI for data and how we can use AI to process, analyze, and unlock new insights from official statistics. But I really want to look for a little while ahead to the future and consider data for AI. So why does this matter? And why does it matter that we make official statistics AI ready? So let me give you a practical example. So if I search using ChatGPT for Indonesia's latest GDP per capita figures, I get two different answers. And I think I've shown them on this slide here. The first answer I get is saying that the GDP per capita, the forecast, says that it's $5,070, and that's from IMF projections. The other result that I get when I search says it's from Trading Economics, and it says it's a similar figure, 4,586. $4,586 GDP per capita is definitely not similar to the 5,070. But also, neither of those figures are probably correct, and neither of them are actually coming from BPS. So what we're seeing now is this real growth in AI tools. People are not kind of going necessarily to individual websites anymore. They're going straight to ChatGPT or to Microsoft Copilot or other kind of AI tools, and they're just putting in their question. They're asking it, what's Indonesia's GDP per capita? And the problem is that AI tools are extremely good at dealing with language, but they're not very good. In fact, they're very rubbish at dealing with data. They kind of deal with data in the same way as they deal with language, which means they often break data into individual parts. They might start averaging things, and also they keep trying to give you an answer. So if they can't find something, then they start to make it up from different places. So that really does matter, though, because it means from a user perspective, they're not getting the right information. And that matters in terms of making the right policies and understanding what's really happening on the ground. And often part of this problem is that official statistics are not always structured, tagged, or clearly documented. But it also means that we actually need new tools. This is a really emerging area. And just to say, I would not have given the same presentation even a year ago, because actually this world is changing. Our reliance on AI tools is growing literally, I think, day by day. And with that reliance, we're also not really able to understand, how it's dealing with data, because these AI tools are so good at language. We just make an assumption that we're also going to give us the right answers when we look for specific bits of data, but they're not doing that. So this is something that we really need to work on, and we're going to need to work on it urgently, but also collectively. And what are some of the things that this would actually involve? I think, first of all, we need to do a lot more to develop and promote new standards and guidelines. So we need new, clear protocols for AI-ready data, but also AI-ready metadata. So we need AI tools to actually find the metadata, first of all, so they know kind of where to go, so they can actually work out what to give, what answer to give to users. There is new work in this area, and I hope nobody's going to ask me complicated questions, but there are new practices, model context protocol servers. MCPs are a new open standard, and they're designed to create a secure two-way connection between data sources and AI tools. So I'm told that this is a bit like using a universal connector, like a USB-C port. And they really allow AI to kind of tools to talk to each other, so they are able to kind of update and communicate seamlessly. That will really help, but it's probably not going to be enough, because what we have to do is work with, with statistical offices, but also with these, with the technology developers as well. We need to work with AI developers, Google, Microsoft, OpenAI, to actually improve and to understand, why is it that their tools are not necessarily finding the right data sources. So we need to understand how those AI tools are actually working, and to work with those developers, so that if somebody does search on Indonesia's GDP per capita, the first answer that they should get back should be from the trusted data source and should be from BPS. So we need to really work on this area. I'm not giving great answers on this, because this is very much an emerging area, and it's certainly something that we want to do much more on. We recognize that there's definitely no quick fix on this, but we do need to take steps now to move towards trying to make official statistics much more accessible, but also much more discoverable and usable by AI. But moving on, I also didn't want to stop today without saying a little bit about resources. We recognize that there's a huge amount of work already going on, and there's no need to start new work from scratch. There's a wealth of support available, and it's growing literally day by day. We've got knowledge products in SGAP. We have a dedicated website page on our website with guides, toolkits, case studies, some of which I've spoken about today, but please do have a look at those. We publish new ones quite frequently, and those are very much kind of based in the work that we're doing with countries. We've got things like videos. I know there was a great video on the work which we've been doing with the Big Data Hub on estimating rice yields using Earth observation data. There's also a wealth of our training that's available. We have our Statistical Institute for Asia and the Pacific, and that offers structured learning opportunities. We have a lot of kind of self-paced courses that you can do, one of which is our Asia Pacific Data Masterclass, and that's really designed for policymakers. So it's not the kind of technical detail, but it's more to help policymakers understand at least a little bit about the potential of these new methods, and includes engaging videos and also case studies. So that's available. There's specialized modules which go into much more technical detail on things like machine learning and reproducible workflows, and all of the resources through our Statistical Institute are free. So just to say that they're there, please do use them, and they really are great at helping you to build skills. Thirdly, we have our regional and global hubs. So in Indonesia, we're extremely lucky to have the regional hub for big data and data science for Asia and the Pacific. And that's a great collaboration with Indonesia, with SGAP, but also with UN Statistics Division. And we really want to say a huge thank you to everybody that's helped to make that a reality. And they are now really providing great training and resources. But I think they're much more than that as well, because what these platforms provide is collaboration. They provide the opportunity to share experiences, but also to access cutting edge tools. And that event today, this event today and tomorrow, is really part of that. Before I close, I also want to just highlight a few exciting opportunities coming up in the next couple of years where you can share your work and where you can also learn from others and collaborate across the global data and statistical community. So next year is going to, and the year after actually, are going to be packed years. We have a global data festival, and that's happening in Nairobi in Kenya from the 2nd to the 5th of June. And that's very much a vibrant space for innovation and exchange. And it's great for showcasing new approaches and learning from peers. So you might want to look out for that one. There's the United Nations World Data Forum, which will take place in Saudi Arabia, in Riyadh, in November next year. And that's very much a global stage for data and statistics. It brings together governments, private sector, civil society, and really looking at how we can shape the future of data for sustainable development. The call for proposals, actually, I just saw that come into my emails. I think it came out yesterday. So I would encourage people to look for that one as well. It's an opportunity to share the work which many of you are doing. Also, next year, we have our SGAP Committee on Statistics. That takes place every 2 years, and we will have that the 2nd to the 4th of December next year in Bangkok. And that's very much a regional platform and an opportunity to collaborate and to look at what we can do collectively across the Asia-Pacific region. Looking even further ahead, we have the World Statistics Congress. So this year, it took place in the Netherlands, but in July 2027, it will actually be much closer to home, and it will be in Busan in South Korea. Again, that is a huge event for statisticians worldwide. So I would encourage you also to look out for that. It's great when we have these opportunities in the region. I think the last time it was held in the region was in Malaysia. Maybe that was about 6 years ago, I think, if my memory serves me correct. It was a huge event, but a really great opportunity for people to collaborate regionally, but also globally. But these conferences, these events, they're much more than just kind of sharing work. They're an opportunity to connect than to actually really learn from each other. So I encourage you all, mark those dates in your diaries, look for opportunities to put in your proposals, and to really look at how you can showcase your work. And let's keep on building this community together, because the future of official statistics and its integration with AI and big data really does depend on collaboration. So thank you so much for all the collaboration we already have with many of you. We look forward to even more in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rachel, for very enlightening presentation. Very nice. I would like to ask you to stay a bit longer for our next speaker and also the Q&A session, because I guess all audience is very eager to ask you some information. And also, ladies and gentlemen, let me summarize what Rachel has highlighted, how the UNSCAP is helping countries to adopt the big data, innovative data sources, and also AI to strengthen the official statistics. So the case study in Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, and Vanuatu, she showed how geospatial data, alternative price data, and machine learning tools can improve SDG monitoring and environmental measurement. I think we also need to emphasize the key lessons by Rachel for scaling up the innovation by start small, build strong data governance, develop skills, and also collaborates. Finally, she stressed the importance of making official statistics AI ready through the better standards and metadata. Very nice presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, it is now my privilege to introduce our next speaker in this plenary sessions, a highly respected scholar whose contribution have shaped contemporary statistical science and its application across systems. Our speaker is Professor Kerry Mengersen from the Queensland University of Technology, Australia. She is one of the world's most influential statisticians, recognized for her pioneering contribution in Bayesian statistics, applied statistics, and in fields such as public health, environmental science, and public policy. Professor Mengersen is Professor of Statistics and a senior leader at the Keynote Center for Data Science. Over her distinguished career, she has authored hundreds of scientific publications, supervised numerous PhD students, and led major interdisciplinary research initiatives. She is also a fellow of Australian Academy of Science, recipient of multiple national and international awards, and has played a central role in advancing methodology and large-scale data analytics for real-world decision-making. I guess we already know that she has collaborated extensively with government agencies, industry partner, and global research institution. Ladies and gentlemen, today Professor Mengersen will deliver a presentation about the innovation in data science to support data-driven policy. I hope Professor Kerry will present how cutting-edge innovation in data science and artificial intelligence can reinforce the evidence-based policymaking. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Professor Kerry Mengersen. Prof. Kerry, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much, Prof. I'm presuming you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you very easily.
Great, perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that introduction and for the opportunity to speak today. Shall I share my slides? Or will you share them from there?
We can share your slides.
Okay, all right, perfect. Thank you. So I would like to talk today about, I really value the collaboration that we have with with BPS and with STIS, and also with other organisations and universities in Indonesia and throughout Asia, Southeast Asia, and the Pacific. I think the comments that Rachel made around the importance of collaboration and the importance of knowledge sharing is I can only restate those and reinforce that importance. And I think that this conference and the work that we do together outside of this conference is so important to advance knowledge in all of the countries that are involved and also across the world. And I'd like to talk, building on the previous presentations, which have been setting the general framework and the general area. I'd like to just talk about a specific example where we've been working on supporting data-driven policy. And if we go to the next slide, the topic that I would like to present on is the artificial intelligence against modern slavery. And the person who's really been at the forefront of this is a PhD student, Adriana Bora. You can see her there. She's just finishing her PhD. She's been working in the area of modern slavery for a long time. And she was really interested in how we might use artificial intelligence to really help in the identification and monitoring of modern slavery, particularly in business supply chains, and then particularly in how that translates to official statistics. And we've been working closely with the Attorney General's office here in Australia, Attorney General's Department, in making sure that the work that we do is connected to our government agencies and to the needs of those organisations, and then through that, through to the delivery of official statistics. So to the next slide, please. So in this work then, we see that we're really trying to highlight the problem of modern slavery as a growing global concern. Modern slavery, as you see, has a number of different components to it. And in fact, there's about 50 million people across the world that are estimated to be subjected to modern slavery. And if you go to the next slide, this is not a problem that is somewhere else. This is actually a problem that is, really important for each of our countries, and it's also important for the UN. So there's a need for transparency. This is part of the UN human rights due diligence framework for companies. Companies in many countries are really trying to do something about trying to eradicate modern slavery in their supply chains. And so they need to be able to identify where these human rights violations might be happening. They need to try to take action then to use findings to be able to change that, and then to be able to track how they are actually going in identification and mitigation and eradication. And they need to be documenting this. And this is part of the human rights agenda, UN human rights agenda, and then also then part of each country's official statistics. So if we go to the next slide, we see that in Australia, for example, there are about estimated 41,000 people who are in modern slavery. And in Indonesia, it's about 1.8 million by dint of the larger population. So it's not a problem that's out there in some other country. It's actually affecting all of us. In Australia, data on modern slavery is collected and reported as part of official statistics, but the figures primarily reflect reported cases and not necessarily the total estimated prevalence. And the Australian government uses the term human trafficking and slavery in a legal sense. In Indonesia, modern slavery is not fully captured as a single consolidated part of official national statistics, but the government does collect and publish data on specific related crimes like human trafficking. So this is the context for a really concrete example of using AI, or how we might be able to support the work in modern slavery using AI. So to the next slide, please. So if we look at the regulatory landscape, there are modern slavery acts, human rights and environmental due diligence legislation in a number of countries. There are a growing number of countries where this is enforced, and a number of countries also where this is envisaged. And we see there Australia has now a Modern Slavery Act, and other countries are, we've followed suit from other countries like the UK and Canada, and then other countries are also going to follow in the next little while. To the next slide, please. But there is a reporting challenge. So the companies said over a certain size are required by law in countries where they have this Modern Slavery Act. They need to submit annual reports. And annual reports are a critical step in transparency about their supply chain and where potential avenues are for modern slavery and how they're actually mitigating against that. The big problem is that the volume of annual statements is high and is growing. So even in Australia, there's about 21,000 reports per year. And these are currently manually assessed and validated by the Attorney General's Department and also by NGOs. And this is very time and resource intensive. And as a result, really, there's only about 10% of the statements that are properly analysed each year manually. So there's a huge opportunity here for us to help governments and to help agencies be able to identify or to assess more statements. And how might we do that? We could do it with more people, but we could also see how we might do this with AI. So to the next slide. So this project then, AI Against Modern Slavery, so the AIMS project, aims to develop an AI method that supports humans to review the Modern Slavery Act statements. And so the vision is for a fast, scalable solution, more rigorous evaluation of compliance, greater accountability and transparency, and a more robust climate for business and human rights. To the next slide. When we undertook this project, we tried to collaborate with a number of organisations. So with QUT, with a Canadian machine learning group, EMILA, the Future Society, and then a number of groups that were involved in modern slavery. So WikiRate, also Abby, and groups that were involved in modern slavery and in AI, and especially in text analysis and document analysis. So if we go to the next slide. So what we've done, I just wanted to talk about some of the contributions of this project, and I'd be very interested to see how this then connects with work that's being undertaken by others in this workshop. So first off, all the work that we've done is provided on open source on GitHub. So the reports that we evaluated from Australia are publicly available through the Attorney General's Department. So this information, the business reports, are available, and all of our analyses then are also available. And the interest is in open science and then promotion and sharing of these ideas and this work. So to the next slide. Another contribution then is an annotated data set. So we took the out of the hundreds of thousands of reports that are available, we took 5,731 statements and annotated 800,000 sentences. So this provides then the training material for the AI models. This was undertaken by a group that did the annotations and then double-checked and triple-checked. And then those statements now, the annotated data set, has been integrated into WikiRate. And so this then becomes a data set that anybody can access and start to train for AI models and then look to transfer to their own context. Next slide. Another contribution then is the automated analysis. So we finely tuned, we developed fine-tuned large language models that can accurately assess compliance. You can see here the questions that were asked, C1 to C6, and then a signature as well. And so each of these questions are interrogated by the AI agent to assess whether that question has been accurately answered and meets the requirements for compliance. So what we found was if we just use the off-the-shelf models, so general predictive models without context, then they struggle to match the performance of fine-tuned models. So this underscores the critical need for high quality curated data sets like the one that we have developed to ensure reliable training and evaluation of language models. I think this speaks to points that have been made by previous speakers and about the need for high quality data and good data pipelines, but also then the methods and the models that are going to be able to be trusted. And that's where we can really play a role in that area. So there's a number of models, large language models that we evaluated and trained on. So BERT and Llama and GPT and DeepSeek, and then came to an ensemble of methods that then provided us with our overall analysis approach. Thank you. Next slide. So in addition to looking at the Australian data set, we also considered AIMS UK, so data sets or statements that have been provided by companies in the UK and also in Canada. So we have annotated those data sets as well, and they are available. And this allows us then to have cross-jurisdictional evaluation. And we really encouraged that Canada and the UK would become involved in this. And also we would really appreciate if there are other countries that would like to join this as well. To the next slide. I'm just put this up to show some of the results. If people are interested, this is showing what we look for. We're looking for different models, and then we're looking for the actual evaluation of those models. I won't go into this, but if anybody wants the slides and wants to talk about it, then they're welcome. To the next slide. Another contribution that we made was AIMS Check. So we really wanted to be able to provide an explainable response back or explainable output about how the system identified whether that statement was compliant or not. So at the sentence level then, it was classifying each statement based on relevance to the compliance criteria. There was also looking at the model transparency, so in explainability metrics, so we can really sort of try to showcase that this model is not a black box, but it's actually able to be understood how the decision has been made. And then looking at an evidence status, so this was tracking sentences that support or refute the implementation. And the importance of this also is providing this feedback then allows companies and governments and other entities to try to improve on both the delivery of the information, but also in the supply chain itself. Thank you. Next slide. The other contribution, as I said, is looking at combining the strengths of the different models into a single efficient model. So by doing this, then we end up with a model that's scalable and practical and ready for real-world deployment. And again, we developed this in collaboration with organisations to make sure that it was going to be fit for purpose. So by doing this also, we found that we could make a model that was faster and also saved energy. Very important for sustainability, but also for implementation in more data poor and resource poor situations. Thank you. The next slide. And finally, a QA system. This was the quality assessment system. So a framework for scaling beyond compliance to the assessment of corporate modern slavery statements with AI-driven question answering. So you can ask questions of the statements and then apply them to policy. Thank you. Next slide. And just go to the next slide, please. I won't describe that. So what we found was 4 key data collection challenges, 4 key data analysis challenges, and 3 key data utilization challenges. So we looked for the challenge and then the legal design recommendation to address those challenges, and then what the AI implication was with respect to that design recommendation and the challenge. So if you go to the next slide, please. I've listed here the challenges for the data collection. And you can see here that it's that I'm going to just put these up, and then again, if people want to look through the details, but for each of them, we have the challenge, the legal design recommendations, and the AI implication. So if you can just keep going through these slides. This is on the data collection challenge. To the next slide, please. This is on the data analysis challenges. So you can see here the kinds of challenges, the kinds of recommendations, and the implication of that for AI. And then if you go to the next slide, there is the utilization, so data utilization challenges. So here again, the same sort of format. And so these came out of our work. And if you go to the next slide, please. What we were able to do from that then was to say which of the countries would be ready for an AI solution. Not all countries have their business statements and the toolkits ready. And as Rachael had said, and has been said by other speakers, it's really important that we have good training and we have the tools available, but also the training. And so each law here was evaluated based on 6 criteria. You can see the criteria there across the top. So the list of the entities, we needed to have control registry, a central registry, needed to have structured format, mandatory criteria, enforcement strength, oversight authority, and finally an AI readiness score. So this was given for the different countries. And so we can sort of see where each country sits with respect to being AI ready. And I think this also speaks to Rachael's comment in the last talk about it's not only having AI to analyse these kinds of data, but then also being able to develop the data so that it's ready for AI analysis. So the recommendations then, in summary, for the government were that governments with modern slavery reporting requirements should publish an up-to-date comprehensive list of all companies and their subsidiaries subject to reporting, so that we know what we have to investigate. Governments should keep a single registry where companies should submit their statements, and these statements should have consistent formatting so that we can have easy retrieval. And governments should legislate that companies should publish statements in machine-readable formats. We had PDFs and other documents that were not immediately machine-readable. And so in order to have comparability and support transparency, we need to have them in machine-readable format. Go to the next slide, please. And for companies then, there's a similar set of recommendations. Companies subject to modern slavery reporting requirements should assist governments with keeping an up-to-date comprehensive list of all companies and their subsidiaries. Companies should place their modern slavery statements on their homepage with a URL that includes the reporting year, and companies should publish in a machine-readable format. So it is this combination of recommendations for companies and for governments then to come together to be able to operationalize AI for modern slavery and to be able to help to eradicate this scourge. So go to the next slide. We've made some policy contributions, so submission to the review of the Australia's Modern Slavery Act, and also a policy roundtable discussion addressing modern slavery challenge and the use of AI in this space. And to the next slide. One thing I did want to just touch on finally is our hackathon. So we had an AI for Modern Slavery hackathon earlier this year. We had over 50 speakers, and you can see there the countries where participants came from. So this is for our speakers. If you go to the next slide, You can see in addition to our 50 speakers, we also had 50 teams, 220 participants, and 19 countries that participated in this global hackathon on AI for modern slavery. Go to the next slide then. These were the groups that were involved in the hackathon. And please to the next slide. The participants were encouraged to build solutions in data processing and enrichment, model optimization and exploitability, application and visualization for stakeholder use, and then blue sky innovation. And we found this hackathon extremely exciting and a great way to be able to really progress innovation in this space. There's a lot of new technologies, a lot of new techniques, and to be able to sort of support official statistics in developing these sorts of new tools. Okay, to the next slide. And this work will actually be published in a book, Designing Justice, where the different approaches and all of the training material from the 50-odd speakers on this topic, on the AI and the modern slavery, will be consolidated into this book, which will appear early next year. Thank you. To the next slide. There's some publications about our work. We'll have the book and we'll have these publications. As I said, all of the material is available online. We would welcome any collaborators, research in this area, and also any work that's done in this area and understanding how this is happening in Indonesia and other countries as well that are involved in this workshop. Thank you for the opportunity to present on this. And if you go to my final slide, I was pleased to be able to share this work with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Kerry Mengersen. It's very insightful and inspiring talk. Please remain with us as we proceed to our next speaker and the upcoming Q&A sessions. I also have captured the main points from your presentation, and I would like to present a brief summary. So, ladies and gentlemen, Professor Kerry Mengersen already have a showcase how innovation in data science and AI can strengthen the evidence-based policy using the example of Project AIMS, an AI-driven initiative designed to improve the transparency and compliance in modern slavery reporting across multiple countries. She also highlighted how the fine-tuned large language models, highly quality, annotated dataset, and scalable AI can dramatically accelerate the review of corporate statements and enhance the accountability and support the governments, NGO, and also the business. Professor Kerry also emphasized the broader lesson and recommendation on data quality and governance, AI readiness, and the need for stronger legal and technical frameworks to ensure that the AI solutions can be deployed responsibly and effectively in public policy. Finally, she also mentioned about the hackathon. It's the opportunity for us to join in this initiative. So, ladies and gentlemen, and respected speakers and audience, our next distinguished speaker is Professor Ming, a respected scholar from Guangxi University of Finance and Economics, specializing in digital transformations, artificial intelligence, and global competitiveness. Professor Ming has contributed extensively to research in digital business models, AI-driven innovation, and international economics. He is a Vice Dean of China ASEAN Institute of Statistics in Guangxi University of Finance and Economics. He is also the Associate Director of the China ASEAN Innovation, Governance, and Intellectual Property Research Institute. He recognized as leading intellectual property talent in Guangxi, specially appointed expert in Guangxi Modern Logistics Expert Committee. So, ladies and gentlemen, in today's session, Professor Ming will introduce to us a presentation about the From Practices to Insights, the digital and intelligent transformation of China's local statistical departments. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome me together. Please welcome Professor Ming. Professor Ming, the floor is yours.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure to speak with you now. I am Wang Ming from Guangxi University of Finance and Economics in China. In this era of big data and AI, the construction of digital government has drawn global attention. I am truly honored to be here to share with you a case from China. The smart statistics of the Wenzhou Municipal Bureau of Statistics in Zhejiang Province. It is not only a technical project, but represents a governance transformation driven by data and intelligent technologies. My presentation will cover 4 parts. First, what this project is. Second, the results it has achieved. Third, the reasons behind its success. Finally, insights it offers us. First of all, I would like to say that this project is not only a technical system. It is a systemic reform centered on data. It has fundamentally transformed traditional statistical workflows and serves as an empowerment role that reshapes the work of government. Wenzhou, located in Zhejiang Province, is a key area for the development of the digital economy in China and is also tasked with advancing digital government reform. The smart statistics is specifically designed to address several pain points in traditional statistical practices. The first pain point is data silos. In the past, data from different departments were not shared, making it difficult for the statistical department to obtain comprehensive and up-to-date information. The second pain point is the single-purpose nature of statistical services. Statistical results mainly support macro-level decision-making and often offer limited direct assistance to micro-level entities such as enterprises. The third pain point is an efficiency bottleneck. Enterprises face a heavy reporting burden and repeated submission are common. As a result, both the quality and timeliness of data are affected. Therefore, the core idea of the project is to transform the statistical department from a data collector into a data integrator and value creator. To achieve this goal, the Wenzhou Municipal Bureau of Statistics developed 2 key systems. The first is the Enterprise Health Assessment System. It functions like a customized data health check service for enterprises. It integrates data from municipal departments, including market regulation, taxation, and finance. Using intelligent algorithms, it performs a monthly health assessment and generates a visual report. It also issues proactive risk alerts. For example, if an enterprise shows signs of financial strain or declining activity, the system triggers a yellow or red alert and sends it directly to the enterprise manager, helping them identify issues early. Furthermore, enterprises can view the status of upstream and downstream partners in their supply chain and gain insights into the dynamics of regional industrial clusters. The system not only provides data, but also offers interpretation, translating technical indicators into language that business users can easily understand, thereby turning data into a valuable information asset for enterprises. The second is the statistical intelligence system designed for internal government use. This system provides a unified citywide data warehouse that integrates more than 6,000 statistical indicators and collects tens of millions of data records each year. It serves as the data foundation for smart statistics. It has also streamlined business processes and enabled the policy of only report once. For example, when an enterprise updates its information with the Market Regulation Department, the data is automatically synchronized with the Statistics Bureau, the Tax Authority, and other departments, significantly reducing the burden of duplicating reporting. In addition, the system provides visualization and analysis tools, supports economic monitoring and early warning, and publishes standardized data to the public. To date, it has released more than 60,000 data points. In simple terms, this project shows how data can be transformed from a burden into a dividend, and how the government can shift from a regulator to a service provider. So, what specific results has the Smart Statistics project delivered? Let me explain through 3 key shifts. First, enterprises have shifted from passive reporting to active use of data. The system's viewers number is the highest of all enterprise-facing applications in the city, indicating that it genuinely meets enterprise needs. One corporate affairs director noted, "This health check system allows us to understand economic trends at any time. The multi-department data and interpretations help us to make decisions more scientifically." Another financial manager commented, "We not only gain access to the authoritative data, but also receive a free health assessment, and we can see the broader picture of our supply chain." This demonstrates that the system is not only useful, but also user-friendly, and it has become an indispensable tool for businesses. Second, government services have shifted from general to more targeted and precise. The system's risk alerts are visible not only to the enterprises, but also integrated into the government's business assistance platform. When an enterprise is flagged as at risk or in suboptimal condition, enterprise service staff proactively visit to provide targeted support, marking a shift from enterprises seeking support to policies proactively reaching enterprises. At the macro level, the system enables the government to assess the overall health of industry, identifying bottlenecks and weak links in supply chains, and formulate more targeted industrial policies. As a result, the project was selected as a major reform case in Wenzhou's 10-year 100 Projects Initiative. Third, government-enterprise relations have entered a virtually cycle. The policy of only report once reduces the administrative burden on enterprise, while the health assessment system enables them to experience the benefits of data sharing. When enterprises realize that the data they provide can be transformed into high-value insights, they are more willingly work with the government. This creates a virtuous cycle of data sharing, value creation, greater willingness to participate. Now let me briefly explore the key mechanisms behind the project's success. These achievements did not happen by chance. They are supported by a 4-in-1 integrated model. First, top-level leadership. The Wenzhou municipal government prioritized the development of the digital economy and digital government as part of its core strategy and formulated clear plans for public data sharing, creating strong momentum to break down data silos. Second, departmental collaboration. Through institutionalized mechanisms, previously fragmented data has been consolidated into a high-quality data foundation. At the same time, data quality and security controls have been strengthened to ensure that the data is useful, and securely managed. Third, technological innovation. The system's analytical model integrate multi-dimensional and dynamic indicators such as electricity consumption, social security, records, patents, and public science and public sentiment, and apply AI algorithms to identify key characteristics of economy and social operations. These models provide comprehensive and reliable decision support for government agencies and enterprises. Fourth, platform ecosystem. The project has its ecosystem, forming a digital closed loop of perception, early warning, analysis, handling, feedback. The entire system now operates in a stable manner, driven by internal dynamics. These 4 aspects work in concert and together form the internal driving force behind the development of digital government. In the future, we can pursue further progress in 3 areas. First, we can replicate the successful experience of the statistical field in other areas, such as public services, environmental protection, and emergency response, to test the broader applicability of the 4-in-1 model. Second, we can achieve deeper integration with AI by utilizing large language model technologies to enable more natural interactions and smarter prediction, such as simulating regional economy scenarios with generative AI. Third, we can build trustworthy mechanisms. While promoting technological innovation, we should strengthen data privacy protection, algorithmic fairness, and security safeguards to ensure that the system operates in a more reliable and secure manner. Dear fellows and friends, China's digital government construction is open and inclusive. We are well aware that on the path of empowering governance with data and intelligence, countries around the world facing common opportunities and challenges, the China-ASEAN Institute of Statistics is willing to serve as a bridge, promoting experience sharing and efficiency enhancement between China and other countries, especially statistical agencies and government departments in developing countries to jointly create a smarter, more inclusive and sustainable future. Thank you all.
Thank you, Professor Ming, for very comprehensive presentations. Please remain with us as we proceed to our upcoming Q&A sessions. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to summarize the main points from Professor Ming presentations. Previously, Professor Ming provided a clear example on how Smart Statistics Initiative in Wenzhou, China, is transforming the local statistical work through digitalization and intelligent systems. He also highlighted how the project breaks data silos, improve efficiencies, and shifts statistical offices from data collectors to data integrators and value creators. Professor Ming also noted that the project's key achievement including the greater enterprise empowerment, more responsive government services, and stronger data-driven governance, while also emphasizing the importance of deeper AI integration and secure, trustworthy data system for the future. It's very interesting and comprehensive presentation. So, ladies and gentlemen, now we proceed to the question and answer session, as I guess many of you are eager to learn more and going deeper to this fruitful discussion. Today, we have very large and diverse audience, those joining us via Zoom, and many more are watching through the YouTube live streaming. I kindly ask for your cooperation to submit your questions using designated channels. For Zoom participants, please raise your hands or submit your questions through the Zoom chat box and include your name and institutions. And for YouTube live stream viewers, please send your questions via Slido, accessible through the link provided by the organizing committee. And also kindly include your name and institution. To ensure the smooth coordination, I would like to request the assistance from our organizing committee to help collect, compile, and summarize the question from the YouTube platform as well, so that we can present efficiently to our speaker. So now we will come to the questions. I guess the first opportunity will for the Zoom participant. You can raise your hand or submit your question through the Zoom chat. I guess it's very nice and clear and also comprehensive presentation from all our speakers today. And it seems that, oh, okay, so we have the first questions. He is already raising hands. Okay, so please, Mr. Boni.
Yeah, thank you, Pak Ari. Thank you, Mr. Ari. Can you hear my voice?
Very
Mr.
clear,
Ari?
very clear.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ari. I would like to ask a question for Professor Ming. To Professor Ming. My question is, how can China's local statistical departments ensure that the shift from data collection to data integration and value creation not only improves analytical capabilities, but also prevents new risks related to data quality, governance, bias, and over-reliance on automated intelligence? That is my question, Mr. Ari. Thank you.
Very nice question. Very nice question. Okay. So to all of our speakers, let me go into the next question first. I guess we also received the question from Ibu Anugrah Karta Monica. Let me read her questions. The question for Professor Mengersen. How can national statistical systems accurately measure the prevalence of modern slavery, given its hidden and coercive nature, and what methodological innovation are needed to ensure these estimates are reliable for policymaking? Oh, very nice question. Thank you, Ibu Anugrah Karta Monica. So we already have two questions. I guess we will go for the third one, then we can ask our speaker to answer. We have the new question here, raising hand, Miss Salwa. Okay, you can open your microphone, I guess.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Ari. So, hello, my name is Salwa Rizkana Putri. I'm from BPS Statistics Indonesia. First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Sony for presenting the recent advancement at BPS Statistics Indonesia. Also, Ms. Rachael for sharing valuable insights on the implementation of data science across the Asia Pacific region, and also Prof. Kerry Mengersen for your inspiring overview of innovations in data science to support data-driven policy making. And last but not least, Prof. Ming for insightful presentation on smart statistics. So my question is directed to Ms. Rachael. And the question is, based on your experience supporting national statistical offices in the Asia Pacific region, what key strategies or capacity building priorities should countries like Indonesia focus on accelerate the adoption of data science within official statistics? I think that's all. Thank you very much.
All right. Very nice questions. So for all our speakers, I guess we can let you to answer the questions. I guess we can go for the first question to Professor Ming. Let me repeat again the question about how the China's local statistical department ensure the shift from data collection to data integration that not only improve the analytical capabilities, but also prevent the risk related to the bias and over-reliance to the automated intelligence. So yeah, Professor Ming, would you like to give us the enlightenment about the question?
Hello. Hear me? Did you hear me? And now we're trying to answer this question. Excuse me? Hello. Can someone hear me?
Yes. I guess this is from Miss Emily, the assistant of Professor Ming. Yeah.
And how to ensure that quality from lease verify that
Okay. I guess we have a big internet connection issues with Professor Ming. So I guess we can go for the second question by Bu Anugrah Karta Monica, and then we can going back again to Professor Ming.
So
the question, sorry? Yeah. So the question for Professor Mengersen by Ibu Anugrah Karta Monica. How can national statistical system accurately measure the prevalence of modern slavery given its hidden and coercive nature? And what methodological innovations are needed to ensure these estimates are reliable for policymaking? So yeah, Professor Kerry, time is yours.
Thank you for that very insightful question, and it's excellent. And as you know, and as we all know, estimation of these kinds of difficult issues, as you say, it's not they're not clearly articulated, and a lot of it's hidden. Is very difficult, and so. There are methodologies submitted by, for example, the International Labour Organization and organizations like Walk Free. So some of that's based on survey information, some of it's based on extrapolation from information that can be obtained. And it's like a lot of the cryptic species in ecology, and a lot of the cryptic subpopulations and cohorts in official statistics as well. One of the methods is in capture-recapture sort of approaches for technical approaches, but I think there's a lot that we can do also in improving the way that we measure this, and the estimates that are provided at the moment are really underestimates for the reasons that we've talked about. One of the other reasons for talking about this too is that the provision of information in a way that then can be used for analysis is pretty much as important as the way that we analyse the provided information. So, and that was a point that that Rachel made as well. So, I think it's working together to try to get better estimates in this field.
Right. Thank you so much, Professor Kerry. So I guess we can go for the next question to Rachel. So the question for Rachel, I will repeat again that based on your experience in UNSCAP to support this NSO in Asia Pacific region, what I noted was the question about what key strategies or capacity building priorities should country like Indonesia focus on to accelerate the adoption of data science within the official statistic. So yeah, Rachel, the time is yours.
Thank you. So I mean, I think great question, and I think I've answered a little bit already on terms of, what can NSOs to build a strategy to really kind of integrate AI type approaches into their work. I mean, one of the recommendations are start small, do something. So for example, we see in Vanuatu, they did some work very early on trade statistics using reproducible analytical pipelines. And that's a great place to start because it used to take them 6 months of work to produce it, and they managed to reduce it, I think, to 1 day. So I would really start on some of the kind of quick wins, look for areas which actually take a lot of staff time, a lot of kind of processing time, and then look at ways you can automate those processes. Because if you can then spare, free up your staff time, then they can do the more interesting work and try out some of these more kind of experimental methods. As we said already, I would really recommend talking to other people as well about what they've done already to integrate methods into official statistics. Indonesia's done some great work on that already. We've seen the work on tourism, also work on kind of rice estimation as well. But these were great examples of what can be done. Thanks.
All right. So it's about prioritization, right? So starting small and going further to integrate the methodology just for the data science into the official statistics. Very well noted. So the next question, I guess, for Professor Ming. Do we already have a good internet connection with Professor Ming again?
Yes.
Oh, it seems like we still have connection issues with Professor Ming. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to go to the next questions. We have in a chat bot from Ibu Wahyuni Andriana Sofa. The question was for Miss Rachel. So I will read the question. Sorry for getting a bit technical, but my question is, how can using standard like SDMX or the model context protocol help to make the official statistic easier to access and more connected and more reliable to the use of AI? I guess this one is very technical, right? And what challenges do you see when trying to apply that kind of standard, like the SDMX or maybe other standards, I guess, when trying to apply this standard across the different statistical agencies? So yeah, this is kind of like a very technical, but applying some kind of standard, as you mentioned in your presentation previously. And how reliable is it for the use of AI? Rachel.
Thank you. I'm not sure I should say thank you for these technical questions, but I will just attempt to answer as well as I can from my limited understanding. So I think SDMX is very much about describing data. It's a kind of fixed way to describe your data sets. Then what we use is things like APIs kind of to access data in a more kind of interactive way. But model context protocol servers go one step further in that they're very much kind of much more flexible, and they're almost like letting APIs talk to each other. So it becomes much, much more interactive. So you don't have to then specify the exact link to the exact data set. So it means then that the AI tools, so ChatGPT, if you have an MCP server sitting on top of the, for example, the BPS data sets, then it would allow ChatGPT to interact through that mechanism and find the data much more easily. But it's only going to find the data if some of those underpinning standards have been done as well. So it doesn't negate the need that actually data needs to be properly structured. It needs to be properly described with kind of standards like SDMX. I think SDMX now, my understanding is that's probably not the most useful standard now. There are new ones emerging, but that is way beyond. I hear people talking about things like croissants. I think more immediately of the pastries, but apparently that's another new data standard that's coming out. What I would say though, that in all of these kind of data standards, we would definitely be getting advice on this. So we would not be listening to kind of private sector companies who might be trying to sell us something. We're looking at open source solutions, and we will go to people, certainly the World Bank, they're my go-to on this particular area, and trying to get kind of cutting edge advice on these areas because it is really new and emerging technology. MCP servers, I believe, were only made available last year. So very new kind of new way of thinking about things, new opportunity, and lots to kind of grapple with, lots to learn in this area. Thanks.
Right. I guess we agree with your insights. And I guess because the standard, such kind of technical standard, will help us to understand more and have interoperability to ensure the quality of our official statistics as well. So I will thank you so much, Rachel. So I will go to the next questions. If some of you, the audience, have another question for our distinguished speakers today, because this one is really important events and a valuable opportunity to learn a lot from the experts and also from the international organization, and learn how to apply the innovation in data science and official statistics help us to ensure the strategic policy help for humanities. All right, so I guess Professor Ming answered the question in the chat board because the internet connection was not quite good. So that's fine. Let us wait for Professor Ming answer, but I will open the question for other participants, maybe from the YouTube channel. Is there any question from the YouTube channel? All right, so I received the question from the YouTube question. So from Budi Arsana, may I ask, so to Professor Kerry, how can we measure or how can we ensure the quality of data generated by AI and big data remains the same as when we using the conventional statistics? So yeah, this question for Professor Kerry. So I guess this is the popular question. Many people also asking the same question, I guess. How the quality of data generated by AI and big data should be trusted. Same with the official statistics. Professor Kerry, would you like to provide the insight?
Yes, well, I wish I could answer that one and answer everybody's questions, including my own on that. I think in terms of the presentation or the application that I talked about at the case study, we're actually using the data that's provided by companies to analyze that. And so the information that we get back is actually, or the model is being trained on a large training set. I think if we're thinking about how the responses we get from our AI and whether we believe them, I mean, that's part of what was asked as in the question. I know it's not all of the question, but that then really depends on the quality of the input data and the design of that. So we make sure that those data cover a representative of the kind of data that we would expect. So in our case, for the business statements, so that there's good representation. That requires then making sure that we have good design, experimental design or survey design, in order to be able to pick up those that representative sample, and that we try to reduce bias in our training sample. We also then need to evaluate the responses, and when we did that with our model, then it was really like looking at that training data set and then the responses that were provided, and then assessing and the important part about that then was assessing what our model was providing. But the important part about that was then the explainability of the model. And so that's where we went down to the different levels of being able to assess the sentence at the sentence level, being able to assess at the sort of the context level, and then the explainability of the model as a whole. So it's not just providing information back, but it's also providing the rationale for the decision and the information as well, so that can be assessed as well. And I think it's also really important in this context that we have AI models then that are well trained. And as I talked about, taking models off the shelf only gets us so far, and we need to really finely tune those. And I was very impressed by Professor Wang Ming's presentation and talking about how the AI approaches used there have been very well trained. So I think we all have a lot to learn from that as well. So I think it's a question that we all need to keep asking ourselves. We are also in the best position to try to develop approaches that can answer that question. And so it's a challenge that is sort of put back to the whole community in how we actually manage to make sure that we have trusted data and also trusted results from that data.
Right. So I guess we also agree with that. That is a very hard questions and still needs a lot of things to be done. And you also mentioned clearly regarding the quality of the design, the quality of the training data, and also the most important is the explainability. I guess it's our task in the future, how the explainability in AI ensure the quality of data can be used for official statistics, I guess. Yeah. Thank you so much, Professor Kerry. That's a very hard question, but that's the future, I guess. Okay. Thank you, Professor Kerry. So, ladies and gentlemen, I guess I would like to read the answer from Professor Wang Ming to the previous question by Pak Boni. Yeah. So 5 aspects to ensure the data quality. I guess this one is very important. The first one is follow strictly to the survey standards. We agree with that. Follow strictly to the survey standard. And the second one, use the internet for data collection. And the third, the survey standard will meet by 9 dimensions, as Professor Ming explained in his presentation. And the fourth one, in accordance with the statistical laws. And the fifth is invite the third party to evaluate. So I guess we ensure that other party also ensure the quality of our data. So this is very comprehensive answer, I guess. And we also received the next question in the chat box from Novriani, BPS Statistics Indonesia. A lot of questions from BPS Statistics Indonesia. I guess very eager to learn more about the data quality and the quality of the official statistics. Question for Ms. Rachael Beaven. I started small by developing a web-based dashboard application in my BPS work unit. It provides visualization of BPS data equipped with AI-generated insight using the Gemini API. I guess this one is from Google Gemini API, like generative AI, I guess. The data comes from the official BPS statistical sources, and the app sends requests to an API endpoint to generate insight based on different data combination. My question is, how can I make this app more useful and more widely recognized by public, knowing that AI is sometimes considered less credible? I guess again the similar question as previously. Less credible for data analysis, as you mentioned earlier. So Rachael, would you like to provide an insights to this very important question, I guess? Yeah, Rachael.
Thank you. I think the questions are getting harder. And I think it's great that you've been developing these new applications. That's fantastic. Great to help users. At the moment, I'm not sure I know the answer on that. So I think that's where things like model context protocol servers, I'm told that if something like that sits above your data, then it makes it easier for things like ChatGPT and for Gemini to find it. Without that, my understanding is that most of these other kind of large language models will struggle because they can't kind of interact. They're interacting with language. They're not interacting with the data. So my understanding is that it is still very difficult. So I would recommend, trying to put, if you've got a useful tool like that that's working within BPS's own data, make it prominent on your website, advertise the use of that. And I think what we need to do is more conversations with Google, with these other with Microsoft, with other companies to actually talk to them about what we can do on this issue. I don't know the answer yet. We want to do more work in this area. We don't have any resources, so we're still very much, kind of trying to explore. But if anyone else knows what we can do on that, we're really up for trying to see what we can do collectively on that. Thanks. Sorry, it's not a very good answer.
Right. So you means like the harder the challenge, it means also the wider room for opportunities in the future, I guess, for our collaboration, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so thank you very much, Rachael. And I also received the question, but unfortunately, this one was in the private chat from Zoom. Question to Professor Kerry Mengersen. Yeah, this one is kind of like a bit harder. As Rachael mentioned, the question will be kind of like harder and harder. Are gig workers, he mentioned, the question was mentioning about the gig workers. Are gig worker in the same as the modern slavery context? Wow, this one is a hard question, I guess. For example, in the online transportation worker, the worker get less payment than the customer pay to the application provider. So sometimes the workers have to do the job with the cheap payment. If they don't finish or cancel the job, then they will get the lower ranking or the lower star in their account. So the worker will have to do the job, even though the salary or the payment were very small, something like that. So do you really think that gig worker is also kind of like, I don't know, like the same in the modern slavery context, based on this question by Yuredan from BPS Statistics Indonesia? Prof. Kerry.
Yes, thank you. This does depend on it's a country-specific policies. There's a case in Australia at the moment about gig workers and whether they're considered and what and how they are evaluated. It's not, the evaluation is not under the Modern Slavery Act, but it is evaluated under the Fair Work regulations here in Australia. So and there are different types of gig workers as well. Remembering too that consultants in general and others also have this. You work to a fee, and depending on what that fee is and the amount of work, then basically you do the job to get paid. But I think gig workers are very much more vulnerable in this sense. So the different countries will have different ways of defining what's in the modern slavery, what counts as modern slavery, and then the different categories of gig workers also have to be considered as to whether they're in or out under those regulations. It's a really grey area, and it often falls through the cracks, and so it's why that area is so, I guess, burgeoning, because there it is sort of that grey area for regulation. And I totally understand and respect people who are in that situation. Yeah.
Right. So the important part was the regulation, I guess, right? By the
regulation
government.
and obviously regulation and enforcement of regulation as
Right.
well. As we know, it's the enforcement of regulation that actually matters. And I think then what I'm really encouraged by is as I'd be interested in others' opinions on this, but I think official statistics agencies, what I've seen in Australia and in my engagement with Indonesia as well, is that official statistics agencies are changing as well, and so they're becoming not just the sort of the provider, the very off hands-off providers of the information, but they're actually becoming participants in the generation of that information, and then also the analysis of that as well. So I think that's a really positive step for official statistics to be providing not just the sort of the hands-off trusted data, but also then becoming involved in these kinds of much more curly questions. So.
Right. I guess we also agree with that. Thank you very much, Professor Kerry. So I guess I would like to give the opportunity to the YouTube questions. I would like to ask the organizing committee to show the recap of the question we received from the YouTube, from the Slido. Okay, so from presentation of Professor Ming, an approach emerged that AI can be considered a trustworthy source. How can in China proving that the result produced are valid? So this one, I guess the question to Professor Ming, yeah, how an approach emerged from AI can be trustworthy. I guess against the same question, I guess, from many participants, similar question, but coming with multiple interpretation and multiple sentences. But I guess the question was about the AI, how we can believe or trust the data from the AI. All right. And the next question was for Rachel. How do we choose the right pilot project to scale up? So we have two questions here. As Professor Ming still have a internet connection issue. If Professor Ming can provide an answer using the chat box, please answer, and I will go to Rachel to answer this question. Rachel, maybe you can share with us your insights about this one.
Thank you. Great question. I guess I would encourage, do lots of piloting, and I would look to scale up the ones where you can save the most staff, you can save the most time. So, I do think that those are the ones you might want to do early on, but also, looking at the ones I think as well where there's a real direct kind of policy need. So, it's also thinking about, how's the information being used? So as Kerry had just said as well, it's about the actual implementation, isn't it? So think about, is this really answering a policy question, or is this just something that's kind of interesting for, interesting sake? So thinking about, that direct link to policy making, does it answer a question that policymakers are asking, or that the citizens and communities are asking about? So anything that can directly address their concerns, but then also looking at the ones, opportunities for doing scaling up projects that will save you time in the future. Then it frees up your time that you can explore other new methods as well, and keep on exploring. Thank you.
Right. So, Rachel, we also have another questions. I guess this should not be harder, but this one is a follow-up question from the previous question by Novriani, BPS Statistics Indonesia. He was asking about the application that he used the AI to generate the data. So the follow-up question was, aside from engaging with the Google or OpenAI to consider incorporating BPS data or official statistic into their model training, I guess this one is about the accuracy of the result provided by generative AI, such as Google Gemini or OpenAI ChatGPT, I guess, because sometimes maybe the answer was not accurate or was not based on the official data or official statistic provided by government, such as BPS Statistics Indonesia. I guess that's kind of a question, this one. Is prompt engineering alone sufficient to address the AI credibility issues in data analysis? For example, can providing detailed context about the data or instructing the AI on how to analyze it, such as specifying which statistical method to use, can improve the reliability? And if so, would the app I mentioned earlier be sufficient to help the public better comprehend the complex statistical data? Wow, that's a hard question. But I guess what I understand from this question was, instead of asking that the result by AI, or in this case, maybe the generative AI that usual people interact with, asking the question, and the question was about the information or about the data, but we understand that Google and OpenAI, maybe they don't have access to the government data directly or the official statistic provided by BPS Statistics Indonesia, for example, into their model training. So he mentioned about some techniques such as prompt engineering and giving the detailed context, so that instead of providing an access for Google and OpenAI to the government data, maybe we can just try to use some kind of technique, this one, to help understand some complex statistical data. Rachel, so I guess this one is kind of harder. I guess we should just stop the question after this, because it's kind of harder and harder.
Exactly.
Rachel.
Thank you, and thank you for the question. I think we need to have a longer discussion on this. But from my understanding, there's certainly been a lot of success in terms of using things like chatbots and data visualization tools within your own kind of, within the kind of NSO data set. So restricting the kind of restricting the kind of data set to ones that are kind of trusted. So doing that and helping to kind of, access the right data within those boundaries. What I think is the much more complicated one is when you're interacting with ChatGPT and you have the double problem. You need, first of all, they have to find the right data, and then you're asking it to analyze the data. I personally wouldn't be doing that at the moment. I'd be kind of, first of all, you really want to kind of make sure that you're accessing the right information before you're then looking at how you do that analysis on the data set. So I think I would be quite wary of kind of bringing different things together. So I think it's great, what you can do within the kind of BPS data sets that are trusted and helping users to access those and to be able to find them. Doing things about kind of, actually doing analysis, I think is a bit more testing, because then it's likely that will be, you'll be compounding issues. So it's not an easy area. Sorry, I'm not giving very good answers on this. I mean, I think that, like I say, helping the users with data visualizations within your trusted data is definitely something that I think, is really helpful. So I would possibly kind of, prioritize doing that kind of thing so that users are directed towards your data set. And so your functionality, you can control that functionality, and that the analysis that they're doing is within that kind of the trusted data set. Maybe not just BPS's data, this goes broader, the kind of government data sets perhaps, but ones that that you've tested the underlying quality, that where they come from, but you're not trying to do bringing together completely disparate data sets. That involves much, different techniques and really much more understanding of the underlying data sets.
Right. Thank you so much, Rachel. And I guess we can have insight as well, because this kind of like the similar question. Maybe Professor Kerry would like to share also your insight regarding that kind of question. Professor Kerry.
Thank you. I just wanted to follow up on that, because I think it's a really important comment around what we mean by analysis as well. So if this is the extraction of the information and then the presentation of the information that's already there, and visual presentation or verbal presentation, that's one thing. If we're actually asking the agent to do the statistical analysis and then provide the information back, then it is doing an appropriate statistical analysis, identifying the appropriate data, and then providing the right interpretation of that analysis as well. And that's where I think the area is just really on the cusp of getting that right. And then that becomes even, I mean, if you're looking at tabular data, that's one thing. But then if you're looking, for example, at geospatial data, and you're asking the agent to do an analysis based on the geospatial data as well, then that's another level of complexity. And then, for example, if you have something like we've been working with Bayesian networks, and so asking an agent, a chatbot, to a question of the, like in text, in verbal terms, to take a verbal prompt and to then go and interrogate the Bayesian network quantitatively and then bring back the response. That's actually another level again of the kind of engagement that and sophistication that you're asking of the agent, and then providing the information in an appropriate way for the user. So we've got all these sorts of gradations of sophistication that we would like to have for our agents. I think we're still, like, even with the chatbot that we have for the Bayesian network, it's still like just a baby chatbot. It's still in nappies, and it will grow as we learn. But I think that's the case for many of us. We're still just at the cusp of seeing this really real sophistication in the agents that we build. So it's an exciting time But I think it's, when we have this conversation in a year's time, and this conference happens in a year's time, I think it will be a very different conversation.
Right. Thank you so much, Professor Kerry. And ladies and gentlemen, I guess we already received the answer from Professor Ming that is written by his assistant, Emily, because maybe his internet connection was not that kind of good. So regarding the previous question, how to ensure the AI data in China can be trusted and valid for the case study in Wenzhou in the local statistical government agency. So Professor Ming mentioned three answers. The first one, it can be connected to private database in comparison. So we have an alternative to check whether the data is correct or not. And the second one was the resources should come from the authority and authentic resources to verify. So this one is kind of like how meaningful and who provide the data. If the data comes from the government or come from the authority, and it should be easy to verify. And the third one, invite the expert to verify. This is very comprehensive answer from Professor Ming. So I would like to open one more questions maybe from the Zoom. Is there any other questions for our distinguished speakers? Please raise your hands if you have any questions. Okay, so I guess it's very interesting, and thank you very much for today's discussion. Very excellent question and thoughtful responses from our speaker, Rachel, Professor Kerry, and also Professor Ming. And before we conclude, please allow me to summarize some of the key takeaways in today's plenary sessions. The first, I guess, we learn a lot how the official statistics remain central to applied policy making, particularly when supported by the institutional modernization and methodological innovations. And also we explored how big data and new data alternative, new data ecosystem enables stronger policy monitoring and capacity for many statistical organizations, including the national statistical offices. And also, I noted that we saw how advanced analytics, including digital transformation, AI, and data-driven business model are really reshaping the competitiveness in the global digital economy as the examples in China. Collectively, these insights reinforce us the importance of innovations, collaboration, and also to shaping the future-ready, AI-ready statistical system and policy framework. So with that, we officially conclude the plenary session of the day one, the International Conference on Data Science and Official Statistics. Thank you so much for our distinguished speaker, Rachel, Professor Kerry, and also Professor Ming. Thank you very much as well, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, for your active participation, hard questions, I guess, and very active engagement. So now I would like to return to the time to our Master of Ceremony. Again, thank you very much. I am Ari Wahyu Wijayanto, and thank you very much for your attentions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rachel. Thank you, Prof. Kerry.
Our
Thank you,
profound
Prof. Ming.
thanks to Mr. Ari Wahyu Wijayanto and all the esteemed speakers for conducting a plenary session that was both intellectually rigorous and immensely informative. We have now reached the final agenda of the International Conference on Data Science and Official Statistics, Day 1. At 1:30 p.m., we will continue with the parallel session, which will take place via the Zoom links provided in the conference guidebook. All participants are kindly invited to join the respective presentation rooms according to their selected sessions. We would also like to remind you that on day 2, the conference will resume with additional parallel session starting at 8 a.m., covering both the ICDSOS International Seminar tracks and the National Seminar on Official Statistics. On behalf of the organizing committee, we sincerely apologize for any shortcomings in today's arrangement, and thank you for your participation and engagement throughout today's program. Thank you so much for your attendance and attention through this plenary session. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I am Safnanda. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.